Hey, it's your girl Kellia, and I am hopping on for another Teacher Planner Tuesday. And it is June. In fact, it is June 10th. And I realized I did not say hello, June, to all of you and to all my beautiful peeps. But we're 10 days in. I'm late, I know. But I did say hello, June, on my Substack, and I said it in other places. But I realized I didn't hop on and do a video about June. Now, what makes June so special? A lot of things. It's the beginning of summer. It's summer break, away from my students. Shout out to all the teachers. But on this Teacher Planner Tuesday, what I wanted to do is talk about the significance of June as Black Music Month. If you didn't know, June is nationally known on the calendar and designated as Black Music Month. What is Black Music Month, you ask? I thought I'd tell you. June is Black Music Month, also known as African American Music Appreciation Month. There was an organization in 1977 founded called the Black Music Association, and it was an opportunity to bring together the collective of Black musicians, writers, singers, entertainers, all of that under one umbrella. So that was in 1977. If you're a 70s baby, if you're a Gen X baby, shout out, because that was a landmark move on the behalf of Black musicians, Black singers, and Black entertainers. In 1979, President Jimmy Carter, rest in peace, you know, he just passed away not too long ago. In 1979, President Jimmy Carter proclaimed June as Black Music Month in 1979 and made it a national day on the national calendar. So it's been recognized for a long time. I'm 52, and so 1979, I think I was in elementary school at that time, early elementary school. I probably kindergarten or first grade. So he declared that in 1979. Again, shout out Gen X on that. And Black Music Month is very, very important because Black music in the American culture and the American lexicon has a big influence on how we listen to music. Black music has guided us through major movements in America, 1960s especially. The Civil Rights Movement. It's guided us through the deaths of different people, and guided us through movements of war, Vietnam War, all of those types of things. The Rodney King movement, music moved us through that. The LA riots, these current LA situations that's going on right now, music is going to get us through that too. But music has guided us through a lot of things, and particularly Black music has been, a stalwart in terms of how we get through things in America. It has been a voice for us. Music also has influenced, how we dance. We had a whole show called Soul Train that showed people how to dance like Black people, and who else to show you how to dance but Black people. So there was a whole show, and if you're from Gen X, you remember getting up on Saturday mornings watching Soul Train, watching for the outfits. Don't forget the fashion. That music has influenced fashion, whole just movements of different fashion through the different eras. The 70s was all the bell bottoms, the afros, things like that. Your outfits had to match the music. Your outfits had to match the atmosphere. So Black music helped to do that. The 1980s, which was a scary decade for clothing and fashion. I do not wish to go back there, but fashion, dancing, and music, and Black music in particular, all went hand in hand. And we've influenced other cultures to emulate us, to copy us, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes co-op us. That's a whole nother discussion. I'm trying to think of the new word that the kids like to use about that. But yeah, it has influenced the world, the entire world. You also have different genres of music that have been founded and created by Black people in America. Jazz being one of those. Jazz was a whole new I'm sorry for the motorcycle outside. I apologize. Didn't think that was gonna happen. You never know. Trying to have a moment before I go into summer school. And a motorcycle went by. So sorry about that. So jazz is one of those forms of music that was created in America. It just was created. People came up with it, and they made this musical, wonderful form of music called jazz. Now, if you're a jazz connoisseur, that's great. I love classic jazz, like Ella Fitzgerald, the bebop jazz, the just the old school jazz. John Coltrane, Charlie Bird. I like that type of jazz. Tito Puente, the Latin jazz. Woo, that's fire. Okay, so Tito Puente, our Afro-Latino brothers and sisters, who Celia Cruz and all of them. I love that music. There's a play right now on Broadway called the Buena Vista Social Club. That's all about these Afro-Latino jazz artists from Cuba. I had one of their albums way back in the day when I was in college. But I digress. But pick it up. I do recommend the Buena Vista Social Club jazz album. Also, blues was something that was created here because black people know blues. A lot of our music came out of our experiences too, and blues was definitely one of those. And we can tie blues to gospel. Gospel music was definitely something that we knew about, from the Negro spirituals that the slaves sang to the secret codes that were in the Negro spirituals to the quilts that tied together with the Negro spirituals. So black music has been ingrained in American culture for a very long time. And then we can't forget hip hop, stand up, Gen X. Hip hop was created during the Gen X era. Stand up, okay? Not this bibbity bop, as my parents would call it, not this bibbity bop, hippity hop stuff that's out here now. I don't know what's going on right now with hip hop, but the hip hop of the late 70s, 80s, and especially them 90s. Shout out. Early 2000s, I'll give you some credit. Lil Wayne, was it John, Lil John, everybody was Lil John, Lil Wayne, all of them. Early 2000s, Eminem. I'll give the Atlanta, when Atlanta came on the scene with the music, that was magical. And they came on the scene starting in the 90s. So that's when I was in college. Shout out to Kent State University, class of 97. But we had a magical, wonderful time around hip hop. And before I move on, I want to also shout out rock and roll, because rock and roll was founded by black folks. Chuck Berry. It took a long time for them to give credit where credit was due. But Chuck Berry, Little Richard, other folks who brought rock and roll on the scene and played the guitar the way Chuck Berry did and the way he danced on stage. We had people try to copy and emulate like Elvis. They tried to say he was the king of rock and roll. In their eyes, he was, but he was not. Let's be clear. Anywho, and then country. People think black folks getting into country is a new phenomenon. It is not. Because again, blues, gospel, country all go hand in hand. Folk music, it all goes hand in hand. And it all emulates from the black experience in America. So, but back to the hip hop and Gen X. And not even just hip hop. I'll say when I was one of the teachers at school yesterday, we were reminiscing on old like Michael Jackson music and videos and things like that. And one thing I always say, being from Gen X, I grew up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Went to college in the 90s. And the thing that being in college in the 90s did, and in high school in the 80s and 90s, and going into college in the 90s, was the thing that allowed us to do as Gen Xers was have collective experiences through music. The music let us experience things collectively. When we saw Michael Jackson do the moonwalk on the Motown 25 TV show all together, you watch that with your family. Nowadays, kids have this streaming and you have, all these different ways of accessing media, but we didn't have all that. You had to, get in front of the TV, have your dinner, make sure you ate, did your homework, get everything done, and sit down with your family in front of the TV at 8 o'clock on a Thursday and make sure you watch these shows. So when Motown 25 came on, and we all got to collectively around the world see Michael Jackson do the moonwalk at the same darn time. That was the most awesome experience, because then you came to school the next day and you talked about it. And we had so many of those moments when albums dropped. When albums dropped back in the day, it wasn't like Taylor Swift and Beyonce. They released it online. You could just download and click and listen to it right away. You had to go to the record store, stand in line. You have to first get permission from your mom and dad. Get money, get permission, go to the record store, buy the tape, and or when, CDs came along, buy the tape or the CD, get permission to do that. And your mama probably had to buy it for you. In a lot of cases. So I remember my very first tape, one of my very first rap tapes was LL Cool J. It was the I'm Bad album. Was it or no? Yeah, it was the I'm Bad. It had a parental advisory sticker on it. Because remember, they started doing that. And that was to warn parents from, letting kids listen to all the cuss words and things. Let me tell you, that album, that LL Cool J I'm Bad album, had one swear word in one song, and I think it was in the I'm Bad song. I'm bad. That was one of the coldest rap songs of all time. It had one swear word on the whole entire album, but they felt the need to put these parental advisory stickers. But surprisingly, my mom let me get that album, which was interesting. But my mother was my biggest influence in terms of black music. She had every album imaginable from R&B, soul, 1960s, 1970s. She had every single Stevie Wonder album. I'm a Stevie Wonder baby. Every single Stevie Wonder album, she had it, and I knew every single song, and I danced to it and listened to it. So shout out to Stevie Wonder. But Gen X, we know, at least because of our age group, and because of the influence of our parents and their music, we know at least 5 or 6 decades of music. Our parents' music from the 50s and 60s. We know the music from the 70s, which we grew up on. The 80s, which we grew up on. The 90s, which we grew up on. And now we know the 2000s music, some of which we want to forget. And then the 2020s that we're in now. So we know at least 5 or 6 decades of black music. And how phenomenal is that? And I love that music can put us in a nostalgic state. If you hear certain songs, you remember exactly where you were. And that's what I say about the collective experience of black music in, America, especially with the Gen X generation. I encourage younger generations to have these same collective experiences. You don't have them, but I wish you could have them. Because music, when you have a collective experience of it, changes lives. It changes how you think about things. Back in the day, and I'll just do one more quick shout out to soundtracks. Soundtracks change conversations. A soundtrack to a good movie, especially a black movie. You look at Shaft and the soundtrack from those 70s blaxploitation movies. You look at Shaft. You look at some of the movies from the 90s, Menace to Society, New Jack City. That's probably one of the best soundtracks ever. Boomerang, one of the best soundtracks ever. But this Waiting to Exhale, one of the best soundtracks ever. But the soundtracks help make the movie. The soundtracks help define the movie for a culture, for a community. And so they don't have that anymore. I don't think soundtracks, other than like a Disney movie soundtrack, or that's not something I do. I know the songs and I hear them. I don't have children, so we're not all up into the Disney. However, soundtracks to movies, especially in the 90s, was magical. So I encourage you to go listen to soundtracks. I'll try to post some up on my Facebook page. And make sure you follow me on where am I located? On TikTok. On the TikTok, Black Girl Happy Planner. Follow me there. And on Instagram, follow me at Black Girl Happy Planner. On YouTube, I'm Black Girl Happy Planner 1973. And I have a Substack, blackgirlhappyplanner.substack.com. Woo, that was a lot. But I just wanted to share and make sure I share and educated folks on Black Music Month in case you did not know that that's what June was. Sorry it's so late. Next year I'll come a little bit earlier with it, but you have it now. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for stopping by. And please make sure you share this video all about June Black Music Month with a friend. Peace.